in 2019, and I encountered my sister-in-law Pam, who's been helping us today. Thank you, Pam. Introduced me to these ladies, one being Bernadette Wright Lawrence, and she's a nurse. And so as I started to hear the story about Indiana Travis Fat Loss Camp, Garza Fat Loss Camp, you know, people always question where is the quick fix and will it work and those types of things. But what I immediately found was the love and support. Never mind the weight loss part. It was like, if you lose an ounce, we're about to just have a whole party for you. Yay! You know, they celebrate every step. And it's been 5 years, it's going on 5 years now since we've been friends, and I'm still going to the camp, and we are still interacting, but it was in 2021. And come on up, Miss Bernadette, we're gonna have a mental health chat that she experienced a tragedy that no one, she and her husband, that no one ever could imagine. And yet God, and yet she is here with us today standing, and she's gonna share her testimony. She is going to give us tips on how we recover from the loss of a child. And I just want you to join me in welcoming my sister, my friend. Come on up. So start though, Miss Bernadette, with telling us more about who you are. We know that you are Nurse Bernadette and owner of Indiana Garza Fat Loss Camp. But there's so much more, so many layers.
I love you, babe. I love Chelsea. I call her my little sister. She's my little sister. And happy birthday, little sister. Happy birthday. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Indiana Garza Fat Loss Camps. That's not the main reason why I'm here today. I'm here to talk about grief, but I want to tell you a little bit about the camp because there are some people here who want to improve their health, who want to lose weight, who want to get the weight off, and we're there. We've been there since 2018, and we've helped over hundreds of ladies lose thousands of pounds. And men. In fact, my husband is one of the trainers. Okay, so we have male trainers, we have female trainers, we have workouts in the morning, we have workouts in the evening, and the main reason why we're successful is because we work together as a family. Alfreda, and so Pam, and so we, Cat, all right. You know, and so what we do, it's a three-pronged approach. We have a meal plan that helps to burn fat and build muscle, okay? We also have care coaches that work with you personally. We monitor your weight. You weigh in twice a week, and if you're not losing that weight, we're gonna get in contact with you. We're not like Planet Fitness where you go work out and nobody knows who you are, okay? Yeah. What we do, we monitor your weight, we talk to you, and we tell you if you're losing, great. If you're not, what you're doing. Please journal your meal plan, okay? We also have fat-shocking workouts, and our website is shockfat.com. So if you ever are interested in losing weight, losing that blood sugar, get that blood sugar down, get your cholesterol level down, that's what you need to do. You need to come over and we'll help you.
6417 Columbia Avenue, Hammond, Indiana.
Hammond, Indiana, right there in Hammond, Indiana. But what I'm here today to talk about, and I'm so glad Chelsea gave me a platform because my son passed away in October of 21. It was October 14th, he was on his way to work, and he was an engineer, and he had to get on the expressway to go to work, and he was in a rush, got up late, he was in a rush, and he tends to text while driving. And so while he was rushing to get on the expressway, he hit the wall, and they had to resuscitate him there at that point, and then they took him on to the hospital. And that was on a Thursday, October 14th. Okay, so he's in the hospital that day. The doctors was telling us he's not gonna make it. I didn't want to believe it. I was saying that a miracle is gonna happen. My husband, on the other hand, understood, and I'm a nurse, but I was in total denial what the doctor was saying. But my husband heard what the doctor said. He cried that whole night. That was his little twin. He looked just like his daddy. But we continued on. That Friday, cousins came. A lot of his cousins came, friends, cousins, all came to see him. That Saturday at 2:08 p.m., the Lord took his spirit, and he's with God right now. He's with God right now. And I tell you, it's the most difficult thing you could ever happen to you, because you expect your parents to go. Both my parents are gone now, but you expect them to go, because that's the order in which it should go. And you wouldn't want your parents to have to bury you, because the pain of burying a child is I mean, it had me in the bed for 2 months like a pretzel, just couldn't move. It's awful. It's awful. And so I was talking to God, and I said, God, why did you make mommies love their children so much if you knew you were going to take them away? You know, and I was angry with God. You know, I see, why didn't you just make us like robots so that we wouldn't have any emotions, we wouldn't feel anything? And a scripture came, and what the professionals call that is spiritual conflict. When you believe in God and believe in His word, but you're mad at God because of what happened. And the scripture is John 16:33. He says, "These things I have spoken unto you, that in me you might have peace. In the world you will have tribulations, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." Now there's two words right here, might and will. He says you might have peace. You may. I mean, it ain't guaranteed you're going to have peace, but you will. It is guaranteed you will have tribulations. So that's life. That's the way it is. We are here, we live, we die. There's no guarantee that you're going to live to be old. There's no guarantee that you're going to live to see your children, your grandchildren. There's no guarantee. But, you know, and so I was talking to my husband again. I said, well, you know, why did God do this? And he told me this. He said, when Jesus, you know, God grieves too. He said, God grieves too. And he said, when Jesus was on the cross, he grieved. And we're made in the image of God. So why can't we grieve? So that's that. So about 6 months after my son passed, God spoke to me, and he said that I have a message for you. And come to find out, while my son was in the hospital unconscious, he was talking to God that whole time. He was talking to God that whole time, but I didn't know it at the time. And so the Lord led me to this song by a singer who sort of looks like my son, around the same age as him. His name is Chandler Moore with Maverick City. And the words of the song is the song Jehovah Jireh. It's the song Jehovah Jireh. And the song goes on to say, and I'm not a singer, so don't laugh at me. I'll never be more loved than I am right now. And so when I heard that, I said, I'll never be more loved than I am right now. Andrew was talking to me, and he was telling me, Mom, don't worry. I'm at peace. And the love that I feel right now as I'm going through this transition from earthly life to spiritual life, I've never felt so much love. I've never felt so much love. And so, you tell a lot of people that they say, Bernadette, that, you know, you talking crazy, you're crazy, you know. And I said, you know what? That's fine. I said, I might be crazy, but the only way I can function in this world is to be with the Lord and be crazy for the Lord. So I don't have no problem with that. I don't have no problem with that. And so I want to go on to say, my son had tattooed on his chest, big old tattoo, trust in the Lord. And then he had another tattoo that had the cross here and the crown over here. So he left the cross, earthly life, and he went on and got his crown.
Wow.
And so he was speaking to us and speaking to God all this time, but we weren't really paying attention. You know, he had tattoos, and we would say, why are you getting all these tattoos on your body? But what he was getting on his body were spiritual tattoos. And I didn't even, because in my generation, we don't tattoo. And so, we was like, why is he getting these tattoos? But then when we thought about it, he had 3 tattoos: trust in the Lord, cross, and the crown. So, meaningful tattoos. So, it's been about 2.5 years now, 2.5 years since my son passed, and I wanted to give some pointers on how I'm helping myself, because the heart never heals. It's never going to heal. Mary, you understand. You understand. The heart never heals, but what you have to do, you have to continue in life. That hole is always going to be there, but you got to continue to live. You got to continue to fight. You got to continue to move forward. You got to continue to have faith. And so there are some pointers that I wanted to talk about. Oh, you want me to hold it? No, that's okay. You fine, baby. I love you. You do so much work. I want to let you rest. This is your birthday. Yeah. Okay. So, steps to help a broken heart. These are steps to help a broken heart that helped me get through my crisis.
The panel, the first one. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Number 1, you must choose life. You got to choose to live. You just got to make up in your mind. You got to live, because at one point I felt like just jumping over in the grave with my son, but I knew that wasn't what God wanted me to do. I have family and friends that I must live for, and God does not want you to do it. We have to continue on. We have to continue to fight. So you have to choose life. That's the main thing. You got to choose to live. You got to want to live. 2, find a purpose for living. What's your purpose? Is it being a mom, a wife, business owner, spiritual leader, whatever it is? It can be something that's very minor that nobody needs to know about, but you know your purpose. So find your purpose. Never give up. When it gets hard, fight harder. Just fight harder. Never give up. Exercise. So, I have a gym, so that probably helped me somewhat, because exercise helps to release hormones and endorphins to help you feel better about yourself. It forces you to get out and socialize, because a lot of times I didn't want to go. I wanted to just stay in the bed, but I had to go because I had a business. I can't just let it go. And so I had to go. And so I went and socialized. And then when you talk to other people, and you hear that you're not the only one that's having problems, you're not the only one that's had a loss in your life, you help each other. It's a sisterhood, a brotherhood, a familyhood, where you just help encourage each other. Okay? So it's good to get out. Even if you don't go to a gym, if you just walk in your neighborhood, if you just put on a video on YouTube and work out with a YouTube video, just move, just do something, but get up out of that bed. Get up out of that bed. That bed will kill you. And get extra rest. You need to make sure you're sleeping, because when you're going through grieving, you don't sleep well. Things pop up in your head, and it's almost like a little newborn baby when you see him startled, when you realize your son is gone, and then you go through the whole startle situation. You know, and it's shocking. It shocks you, and it just keep going and keep going, keep going. Professional counseling. There's nothing wrong with professional counseling. There's nothing wrong with seeing a psychiatrist. There's nothing wrong with seeing a psychologist. A therapist. Nothing wrong with it. I know a lot of people in our community, it's a stigma to go see a counselor, to go see a psychiatrist. And like Dr. Seabrook was saying, they wait till the last minute to go see somebody. You don't want to wait till the last minute. If you know something's wrong, you go see the doctor so he can help you through that. Because you don't want to get to the point where you want to commit suicide or things like that. So you go see a counselor. Medications, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. You just make sure that the medications that you get it from a doctor, not just going out here, because sometimes people want to self-medicate from the streets. And that's not where you go get your medication. You don't go get fentanyl or Oxycontin. You go to the doctor and get the correct medication, okay? Allow yourself to grieve. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, you should be over it now. That's been over 2 years ago. You should stop crying. You know, don't let nobody, because you'll never be over it. You'll never be over it. You just learn how to maneuver your grieving. You'll get to a point where you're not crying all day, where you'll have what is called control grief. Control grief. Okay? Now, control grief, well, what is control grief? Every day, I sit down for about 40 minutes and listen to spiritual music, and I let myself cry and get it out of my system. Just go ahead and cry. Look ugly, don't care, hair standing on your head, but you get it out of your system. Get it out, and then you can go on. And that comes later, because when it first happened, there's no control.
Yeah.
But as time gets further along, you know how to control your grief. You know how, but you got to do that, because it's just like a steam pot. If you don't let it open it up, it's just gonna blow up somewhere else. So you let it out. And the most important thing is you want to have a spiritual life.
Yes.
You got to have a spiritual life. I know a lot, some people out here say they're atheists and all that, but I tell you, if I didn't have God, I don't know if I would have made it.
Hello.
I don't know if I would have made it. I tell you, you got to have it. You got to have the Lord. Because without Him, I know I would have been in the grave already.
Oh, yeah.
So what I've learned, and I continue to learn, is that we have to be content in every circumstance. That song is in Jireh too, that word, that lyric. You must be content in every circumstance. And what does that mean? That means no matter what happens in life, no matter who you lose, your loved ones, your friends, you lose your money, you lose your job, or whatever it is, you got to be content, because this is just this world. It's just this place. But God is up here. And we're not living just for this world. We living to make it up there. So you got to be content. Guys, you're going to have tribulations in life. You're going to have problems. You're going to have issues. But you got to be content. You got to say, God, I know it's all in control, because there's nothing else you can do. When your loved one is dead, I mean, what you going to do? You got to learn how to be able to function, or else you're going to. And that's another thing. Loved ones who've lost loved ones, especially a child or spouse, a lot of times they die within the next 6 months after that person has passed away because of grief. Grief can kill you. Yes, it will. Grief will knock you down, put your heart out, and you're gone. So you don't want to grieve yourself to death. And I know it's just up here me talking, and it's hard to think. But you gotta lean on Jesus. That's all I say. You gotta just lean on the Lord, lean on the Word. I just read words, read about heaven. Where's my son? I read this book about heaven, and it told me all about heaven. And so then it gave me a little piece. That got me to one step. Just read and read the Bible, and just lean on the Lord and socialize. Get out of the house. Get out of the house. God is good.
I would add that I think all of you would agree that Miss Bernadette is definitely doing an honor to her son's memory.
Yes.
By coming out and speaking words of faith and letting folks know that they are not alone. And as you said, we don't know who we're gonna lose as a result of this, and we can go back and remember some of the things that you've shared with us that will allow us to cope. So you are, what we said, turning her pain into purpose. And we're gonna thank you for that. And we're gonna turn the guards up. Dr. Seabrook, you have something to add, please.
I just want to say to Ms. Bernadette, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I was a member of your club when you were going through this tragedy, and I just couldn't even imagine going through what you were going through. And when Chelsea shared the news with me at the gym that day, I was totally devastated. And I was looking for you almost every day. I would come to the door, Ms. Bernadette here, and they're like, no, she's not back yet. And I just wanted to let the audience know that broken heart syndrome is real. It's a real medical diagnosis. It's a Japanese first name, Takotsubo something, you can look it up. But broken heart syndrome is Takotsubo's cardiomyopathy. It is a real medical diagnosis. And what Ms. Bernadette described, typically spouses or parents that have lost a child, or a spouse that has lost a significant other, can sometimes suffer from these syndromes and find themselves 6 months after they're gone as well, because they start to have this cardiomyopathy that comes about. No medical conditions whatsoever, no form of heart disease previously, and these symptoms come about because of their brokenness. And so I would urge you and encourage you that if you know of someone who is going through something like this, that you would give them this information that Ms. Bernadette has shared with us, that it is, important to save their lives and make them aware of their need to be here and their purpose to be here. Because God is not ready for Ms. Bernadette yet. Your time is your time. And your time right now is here with us and with your family. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Dr. Ladies and gentlemen, Bernadette